Welcome, everyone. All right, so welcome to EDCO's Meet the Candidates session, and thank you all for attending to hear from our candidates today. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Belinda Wick-Graham. I'm the Director of Economic and Community Development in the town of Minto and am the past president of EDCO, which also makes me the chair of our nominations committee. And it's really exciting to see so many people interested in running for EDCO to serve on the board for the next 2 years. So thank you to those putting your names forward. So just to recap the nomination process, the nomination period was open from July to September 15th, and we received 7 nominations from across Ontario. We're excited to learn more about these 7 candidates today. But before we get started, I just want to remind EDCO members that voting opens on Wednesday, October 15th, and we obtain votes through an online system and voting is anonymous. All EDCO members in good standing will receive their ballot via email, and you will have until 5 p.m. on Monday, December 1st to vote. We will then vote in the Board of Directors at the annual general meeting, which will be held at the Weston Harbour Castle on Tuesday, February 3rd as part of our annual conference. You will receive the annual general meeting information in January, and we look forward to seeing everyone there. All right, so to get us started, we're going to do introductions of our candidates. They are going to speak first here in alphabetical order by last name, and each will have a maximum of two minutes to speak to provide a brief introduction of themselves and their experience. And Stephanie is going to be the handy dandy timer, and she has made all the candidates aware that she will be cutting them off at 2 minutes or letting them finish out their sentence if it appears they're wrapping up. So first up, we are going to have Claire Barnett. So over to you, Claire.
Thanks so much, Belinda, and really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Before I start with my introduction, I really just wanted to acknowledge what today is. Many of us, I see, are wearing orange shirts, and I think the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation is really important for us to recognize, so I just wanted to do that before I began. So many thanks for the opportunity to introduce myself and be considered for a position on EDCO's board. I would bring over 20 years of experience in economic development to the board. I've been working in all areas from entrepreneurship, small business, Main Streets BIAs, to innovation districts, BRE, and attracting new foreign investment. I was with the province for over 17 years, and I really had amazing assignments. I was so fortunate with the assignments. I represented the province in the UK and Ireland on economic affairs, primarily on trade and investment. I also helped establish Ontario's first investment office, leading international business development and marketing. I served as Director of Communications and Marketing, Director of Manufacturing with the Ministry of Economic Development, and I had several assignments in Cabinet Office. And then I was recruited to lead a new economic development approach for the City of Brampton. I created an award-winning and accredited economic development for the city, where global brands invested under my leadership, and we created a new innovation district. I now lead economic development for the City of Toronto, and my focus is much the same as in all areas of economic development, and I have some really interesting projects that I'm leading right now, including an AI economic development strategy, managing the growth of our business improvement areas from 86 to 125, building our BRE capacity, and a public market strategy. I've served as an advisor and a board member to many organizations, such as the International Economic Development Council and the Organization for Women in International Trade, as well as a lot of local incubators and accelerators. I am personally focused on supporting women to grow their careers in economic development and the growth of the economic development profession. The question was asked, why do you want members of EDCO to vote for me? And there are 3 main reasons. One is my extensive and varied experience in economic development. The second is my personal drive, wanting to contribute. And finally, I am committed to EDCO's growth. Thank you for your consideration.
Awesome. Thanks, Claire. You did well staying in your 2 minutes. Good job. A+. All right, moving on to Abdul. So Abdul Rajat Jendi.
Well, thanks, everyone, and it's really a pleasure to be here. This is my second year running for this board, and it's really interesting. So my name is Abdul Jendi. I'm the investment manager for sustainable manufacturing with the Kingston Economic Development Corporation. My role is to support local businesses grow and also attract foreign direct investment. I joined Kingston just under 5 years ago. Before that, I was working with a consulting firm doing economic development consulting in Montreal. So many of you here might have been a client of ours at some point. So I'm really familiar with Ontario in general, each region, what it offers, whether pitching for or competing with, but also across Canada and the world. So we did serve Europe, Asia, South America, most of these economic development organizations. I was brought up in the United Arab Emirates, worked a little bit in Turkey, so I do have this global exposure. I worked with publicly traded companies, family businesses, startups, as well as a nonprofit organization. So I really know the pains, opportunities, and what matters to every level of companies. In my role, we help companies from a $100,000 project up to a $2 billion project, whether they're developing talent or just looking for a space to have a mailing address. I would say during these times with the tariffs and what's happening, it's a new game. I think many of these companies and economic development organizations, we need to pitch towards diversifying markets, pushing companies to diversify. And through my connections that I built throughout the years, and even here in Canada, that would help me lend it out to cities, regions, as well as companies to look for these new markets. So I would say I'll be honored to earn your vote, and thank you for listening to me.
Good job, Abdul, keeping us on track here. Excellent. Okay, Daryl, no pressure.
No problem at all. I think I'll be quick. First of all, I just want to thank everyone for attending and for giving me the chance to speak quickly. My name is Daryl Jalot, currently the Director of Economic Development here in the city of Peterborough. Previously spent about a decade. Some of you probably know me from my time at Digital Main Street, but spent a decade building that organization up. Being the first employee, we grew that to, at our peak in COVID, we were just under 800 people across the country. And I've had the pleasure of delivering programs, both within the city, the province, and Canada with Digital Main Street. We did expand that program to the US and had some international engagement as well. In Peterborough specifically, so at the end of 2024, there was an arm's length third-party organization delivering economic development. So I'm currently rebuilding economic development in Peterborough at the city. First time in about 25 years that it's been internal. And so just taking that challenge on head on and rebuilding things here. In terms of why, I guess I will just say in terms of experience, I'm fortunate enough to have had this wonderful organization award me the Young Professional of the Year award back in 2020. And in terms of why I think people should vote for me is I think I bring a different element. I think, there's a very strong, stable board in place with tremendous experience. And I think I have an outside perspective from my municipal experience, my nonprofit experience, my innovation startup experience. I've started a few companies myself. And so I think, looking to bring all of that to the board in a complementary fashion so that we can continue to grow the organization and grow our membership, but also look at just doing some new, cool, and innovative things. Even this morning, I've found myself as part of the Bloomberg Innovators Network. So I was connecting with some folks down in the Dominican Republic on an innovation challenge framework. And looking at how that can be adopted in markets, whether it be Peterborough, Toronto, Canada, wherever. So yeah, I think it's a mixed bag, but I'm looking forward to bringing my unique, well-rounded experience to the board and complementing what's already there. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Daryl. Moving on to Noor Mazloom.
Thank you, Belinda. Hi, everyone. I'm Noor, and I'm the Executive Director of the Downtown Peterborough Business Improvement Area. So I am seeking re-election into the board to continue on the great work that we have been doing over the last couple of years. So prior to me moving to Peterborough, just over a year ago, I used to actually work with Abdul at Kingston Economic Development as the Marketing and Communications Manager. And I have also won some EDCO awards, not to take away some thunder from Daryl's EDCO awards. But I was the DEI Influencer of the Year, and I won the EDCO President Award the one year. And last year I won the Ontario, what is it? I forgot the name of the award, but DEI, Ontario's Diversity Champion of the Year. So yeah, looking forward to the rest of the discussion, and I know I'm running it with a great slate.
Awesome. Thanks, Noor. Tyson McMahon is next.
Great, thanks, Linda. Hi, everyone. My name is Tyson McMahon, and I'm the Business Development Consultant for the Agri-Food and Food and Beverage Processing sector with the City of Hamilton. So I would say being the business development consultant for this sector does definitely bring a unique perspective, as most of my time is actually working in the rural communities of Hamilton, given that 70–80% of Hamilton is actually rural in nature versus urban. In my role, I've been with the City of Hamilton for about 4 years now. In that 4 years, I could say I've helped attract close to $500 million in new investment expansions in the city, again, mainly in the food and beverage sector, as well as developed the BRD program for the sector and ended up winning gold at IEBC for that. Bring about a decade of experience. So I actually started my career in economic development, started an internship with the town of Amherstburg, turned that into a full-time analyst role where I was actually tasked with rewriting the town's financial policies and procedures following a ministry review. Following that, I was able to work in the private sector for a firm some are familiar with, MDB Insight, where there I was working on economic development strategies, workforce development initiatives, and my favorite one I like to talk about is the craft beer development market strategy for the BC Ministry of Ag, where I was writing the target market identification section of that report. Following that, I was with the City of Guelph for 5 years, started as the analyst, moved my way up and became the investment attraction real estate officer, where I was responsible for selling the city-owned employment lands in the Hanley Creek Business Park. I live in Guelph right now with my fiance, Michaela, and my cat, Patricia, who, if you can see, her ears are on the screen, so she'll probably be here for the remainder of the call as she wants to ensure she gets all the attention. As I mentioned, I started my career in economic development and I haven't looked back. This working with communities to succeed and prosper is my passion. And I would say the main reason you should vote for me is I very much take, or what kind of drives my work in Hamilton and other places is finding practical solutions for problems. I think a lot of the role that EDOs have is collaborating and working with our other municipal partners or non-municipal partners. And then I think that collaboration and finding practical solutions is the kind of skill sets needed for the EDCO board.
Thanks, Tyson. Okay, Mr. Cephas Panchow.
Hello and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cephas Pancho. I'm the Development Commissioner in the town of Tillsonburg, and I, along with Nora, am seeking re-election to the board. It's been a pleasure to serve these almost past 2 years on the board with lots of good candidates. I'm indeed proud to say that the board is a good board and lots of good people on that board. So I know that we're all aspiring to a good thing. So congratulations to all my fellow candidates on their aspirations as well. I've been here in Tillsonburg for 18 years, so I represent a smaller community. Previously, I was in the city of Barrie, and I've been working for another organization as well. So certainly, I'm one of the longer tenured economic development staff in terms of being in one location, but certainly proud of that involvement here. And during my time in Tillsonburg, we've grown to 21,000 from 15,000. And what I like to say about smaller communities, I know that others can attest to this, is just that you get to be involved in so much at the granular level. Of course, that's also one of the crosses to bear in a smaller community, is that you get to be involved in so much. But really, that's given me a really good background and perspective on involvement in the community, on building community. One of my proudest accomplishments is Tillsonburg is known as a bit of a business and industry town, or big time as that. And we started Tillsonburg's Turtle Fest a number of years ago. So again, trying to focus on that tourism and experiential elements in our community. So proud to be part of that, of course, and help kickstart that initiative in quite a number of years ago now. So it's grown into Tillsonburg and area's biggest festival, and kind of trying to, again, position our community as being more diverse and also more focused on other sectors of the economy instead of just manufacturing and business. Well, I've mostly worked in my career within 1 to 2 hours from Toronto. I was born on the East Coast, so that kind of gives me a different perspective. And I've also driven across Canada, fun fact, twice. And I love driving, so I've seen kind of every aspect of this. And it's one of my personal goals to, when I drive across areas, to check out the downtowns and communities. So that has really helped inform my economic development practice here in the town of Tillsonburg, and where I've been in just understanding the economy, understanding the data and the sectors that drive the economy and create jobs and wealth, of course, for everybody. So in terms of I'll save some of my comments for the end, but just in terms of being involved with the board, I'm certainly looking to continue to contribute to that board. Hopefully, if the voters decide that. So thank you, and next.
Thank you, Cephas. Okay, last but not least, Jens Michael Schall.
Thanks a lot, Belinda. And yeah, hello everyone. My name is Jens Michael Schall. I'm currently Vice President Global Expansion at Invest Ottawa. In that role, I do lead foreign direct investment, business retention and expansion, and talent attraction work for Canada's capital region. Being part of our ELT, the executive leadership team, also, of course, exposed me to other areas of our work, which include our entrepreneurship work with the SBAC, the startup work with our RICS, the Oven and NATO Diana certified test site that we as Invest Ottawa run, but of course also advocacy and fundraising work vis-a-vis municipal, provincial, and federal partners. Before joining Invest Ottawa in 2019, I worked with the Ontario government, where I had the honor to serve as Ontario's representative in New Delhi for a couple of years, and then subsequently in New York. Mainly working on trade investment promotion in those host markets. Of course, this gave me a good exposure to international markets, government-to-government engagement, but also cross-cultural economic diplomacy. During that time, I got to know many of you, many of the EDCO members, and I got a full view of what Ontario and its regional economies look like. It allowed me to really travel to pretty much every corner of our province, and also meet many of the ACTEV teams during that time. I also served on the board of the Consider Canada City Alliance, which is a group of 14 major Canadian city regions that jointly advance collective investment attraction, talent mobility, and national policy advocacy. So with that said, I'd say I'd bring both sort of boots on the ground delivery experience, but also strategic leadership experience. But I actually want to do it a bit different. I don't really want to turn this into a campaign for myself, but I rather want to thank all other candidates that decided to give. You all decided to give. You decided to give time. You decided to give time to the organization, to the cause. Time that you could have spent otherwise, and I think that really asks for respect, and I do respect that a lot, and I wish you all good luck in that process. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the discussion. So thanks a lot.
Great, thanks, Jens. Wow. You guys are an accomplished group. We are so lucky at EDCO to have this lineup. I'm excited to hear the rest of the talk today. So we are going to move forward to the question and answer period. And the candidates have all received these questions ahead of time to be able to prepare. And a reminder, everyone is doing a great job. We do not want to see Stephanie appear. So you're doing great. Keep it up. We are going to move to our first question, which is, dun, dun, dun. What involvement have you had with EDCO programs or committees, and how do you feel that experience will assist you as a director? And first up here, these were pulled at random, will be Tyson.
Great, thanks, Linda. As I mentioned earlier, in my 10 years of economic development, I've been involved with EDCO, I would say maybe not day one, but day two. So I know when I first started at the town of Amherstburg, I joined the awards community, or awards committee, I should say, where that was just reviewing some of the EDCO award submissions and ensuring back-end process went smooth. Following that, in 2019, I participated in the first Bright Ideas competition that was held by EDCO, where me and Zach Gable, now Brant County, provided a resource for EDOs in the early days of cannabis legalization as to how best to navigate and manage investment and development in the cannabis industry. So that was looking at things like wastewater zoning policies, that kind of thing. And since 2023, I've actually been the co-chair of the Bright Ideas competition through EDCO, helping to expand the competition in the amount of teams that are participating, as well as seeking opportunities for how best we can make the Bright Ideas competition in Ontario be a national competition with the other economic development organizations across Canada. In 2004, I represented the city of Hamilton as part of EDCO's Queen's Park Day, where I would like to say that in part, those conversations, along with I know other conversations we were having, as well as other communities were having, led to actual changes to the RED funding, which is now the ROD funding, that allowed for rural communities within large urban centers to apply for that funding. And that's been a real boon for our rural areas in Hamilton. So since day one, again, day two of my ECDEV career, I've been involved with EDCO and believe that experience, that time spent with EDCO is a crucial reason why I should be, or you should vote for me to join the EDCO board. I think being involved in EDCO is a crucial component of serving on the board. Being able, again, to serve EDCO is just another function of being able to serve on the board.
Great. Thanks, Tyson. Abdul, you are up next.
Awesome. Well, I think my answer would be quicker than that, and I appreciate all the experience I've been hearing, especially from Tyson with EDCO and the others. My involvement with EDCO goes back when I entered the economic development field almost 8-9 years ago. So I attend the annual conferences held every year. I connect with members and attendees and sponsors. I also participated in the Queen's Park event, which I found very beneficial in terms of advocacy, as well as pushing ideas to elected officials. I'm also part of the mentorship program, so I do have I mentor one of EDCO's members, if that's the name, and also participated in the past with submitting proposals for the awards. Been one running, but never won the first. But I think here's where I want to have more time to dedicate more time with EDCO to be part of the programming. I also feel like fresh thoughts that, without seeing some of the, of course, you work within maybe limitations, could be logistical or financial constraints, which outsiders would not see, but I would love to participate more in them, give feedback, honest feedback to things that are going great and things where, some improvement could happen. And I think that sums it up.
Thanks, Abdul. Daryl?
So I'd say I've just kind of always been around EDCO, I think is a fair way to say it. I've never formally sat on the board or any committees, but attended conferences year over year. I've attended events. I participated in the awards program. Like Abdul, have been a mentor within the program as well too. And then just I guess kind of that uniqueness I've talked about is at my time at Digital Main Street, we actually partnered with EDCO on a program to help kind of build out the back-end infrastructure and program design and stuff like that. So have always just kind of been involved with EDCO. I consider myself a good friend of the association. So really just looking to formalize that, get more involved, and just, I don't want to say give back because that sounds cheesy, but just give in a different way. To everybody's point, it's been a valuable piece for me in terms of, networking and just getting to know everybody and my colleagues across the province and everything there. I think that experience is going to help me as a potential director on the board, just because, again, I kind of bring the best of both worlds. So I've got that formal ECDEV experience, where I think I complement the existing board very well, but I also think I have that outside voice that, hopefully kind of, outside the box thinking. And that perspective of big and small too, because I've been fortunate to work with literally every single municipality in this province. So I think, I have seen, what's impacted, Peterborough, Southwestern Ontario, Northern Ontario, whatever it may be. So I think it's just kind of that overall, experience that I've had in terms of program design, mentorship, all of that. And I want to formalize that a little bit. And I want to continue to help the organization grow.
Thank you, Daryl. Noor, you are next.
Thank you, Belinda. So I'm on the board and I'm seeking re-election for my third term. Just before I joined the board, I helped found the DEI committee and co-chaired it for a number of years. I believe it was like 4 years, and I co-chaired the professional development committee, and now I'm the co-chair of the governance committee. I've also participated in the mentorship program. I was a mentee and a mentor. I've attended, I'd say, all of the conferences since I joined economic development in 2019. And I've attended a number of regional seminars. I'll be at just to plug that in, I'll be at the next regional seminar in 2 days.
Thanks, Noor. Jens, you're our next candidate.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Yeah, so even though I have not served on EDCO committees before, I've been a participant and also absolutely a beneficiary of EDCO programming in the past. Since joining MatchCat in 2013, I've probably literally attended every annual conference since then. More recently, we at Invest Ottawa had the opportunity to co-host the first EDCO Big City Leaders Forum at Invest Ottawa, and sort of co-host and co-organize, and that was, from my perspective, a huge success. And I want to thank Stephanie and the team to make that possible and have us be the guinea pigs for this new format, which I thought again was great. What all the EDCO events have in common, and the Big Cities Leaders Forum was no exception to this, is really the drive and focus on learning, advancing our community, and building our profession, and also building community within our profession. And so the collision of people, ideas, and learning was really always something that drew me to EDCO. And again, now with the opportunity of leading and co-hosting the Big Cities inaugural event, that was great. Some of you were there and participated in the programming, which was great too. I think my experience in convening, also multi-stakeholder working groups, whether it be through the FDI work or through cross-jurisdictional projects or within the CCA. Also means that I really understand, how to serve on such committees, and I kind of want to bring this all together and use this experience to help, sort of shape some of the future forward-looking programming within EDCO. So thanks a lot.
Awesome. Great, thank you. And last but not least for this one is Claire.
Thanks, Glenda. So I've been engaged with EDCO for about 20 years. How active is really dependent on the role that I was in. So for many years, I've also attended the annual conference and was engaged actively with EDCO members due to the nature of my work, as Jens was mentioning, supporting many of the towns and cities in the province. I've been involved also in the content of various conferences. So, 10, 15 years ago, it was about call centers, contact centers, and BPO, and contributed there when I was with the province. And then we had a lot of content around attracting new FDI as well. So had some involvement in terms of organizing the content for those conferences. With Brampton, we became a sponsor, an exhibitor. And what I think is equally as important as to my own engagement is the engagement and support I've given my teams over the years to be active with EDCO. So now with the City of Toronto, I would really like Toronto and my team to be more active. We've been supportive and members for years, but would like us to be even more so. So recently I moderated one of the panels on the tariff response sessions that have been happening on Fridays. Attended the Big City event in Ottawa, which was fantastic to be among other cities having similar challenges in economic development and really diving down deep into some of those. That was great. I've partnered with Stephanie in a few areas of trying to build the role of sort of urban members and being a bridge with some other organizations, as I mentioned, being on the board of IEDC, they would really like to see a more active partnership with EDCO. So I think I can contribute there, and that's some of the work that I bring. So I think the experience really helps me understand the EDCO of the last 20 years and sort of its past, its history, certainly its current goals. And as a potential board member, would really like to contribute to the future. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everyone. We're moving on.
Belinda?
Oh, Cephas.
Just point of order, unless I blacked out, I don't think I got a chance to respond to this question.
I'm sorry, Cephas. Yes, you're correct. I'm sorry. That was not intentional. Thank you. Thank you.
No
Please
worries.
go ahead. My apologies.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, no, I've been involved with EDCO programs and committees over the years. Actually, I think over 20 years ago, I was all involved. I'm not much of a web guy, but I was on the web committee at one point. So I was able to help with some website improvements for EDCO back quite a while ago now. Certainly, I've been previously involved as others have with the mentor program, and certainly saw that as a key part of giving back to the profession and helping the next generation of leaders, in terms of their role and growing in their role. Certainly Queen's Park event's been a great event. And then, but my passion really is, all these are good, but my passion really is the conference, and just so excited about the conference, even 20 plus years into this profession and into attending that conference. And so I got involved with that. The first time actually was with the during the pandemic. So it was 2021, February 2021. Oh, actually, no, I think it got pushed to April. I don't even remember when it got put, but anyway, the bottom line is that we had to arrange a virtual conference, and it was quite an undertaking, and that was my trial by fire in terms of helping with the conference committee. And I thought it did go over well. And of course, fortunately, we moved back to in-person conferences, and I'm still on that conference committee and actually acting as a co-chair right now, just because of my passion for that committee as well. So again, I can't say enough about EDCO. I often brag that I think it's got the best economic development conference around, and maybe just more than Canada, but I could be biased, but that's my bias. So thank you, Belinda, for the chance to share a few thoughts.
Thanks. My apologies again, Cephas.
Oh, worries.
Question number 2 then. I'll try not to miss anyone this time. Why do you want to be a member of the EDCO Board of Directors? And Jens, you're up first.
Yeah, thanks again, Belinda, and that's my favorite question. It's probably a question that where I might stretch my 2 minutes a little. So let's see how it works. Yeah, so I thought about this very carefully before deciding to throw my hat in the ring. What the answer to that question is, and I want to use a book for helping me answer that question. The book is called The Principle of 18. Not sure whether folks of you have read it. It's also called Getting the Most Out of Every Stage of Your Life. And so the basic principle is that your life is divided into sort of 5 blocks of 18 years. First one, you're the dreamer, sort of you're experimenting and look what you do. The second 18-year block is the explorer. So you focus intently on basically you're exploring what type of career you want to do later on in your life and what you want to do with your life. The third one, and that's the one sort of I'm almost about to exit, I guess, is the builder stage, where you really build intently your career, where you're sort of building credibility, where you build wealth, where you build brand and all these type of things. And then the last 2, and that's I think where I'm pushing towards is the sort of phases of mentor and giver, and I think they are sort of interchangeable and they are somewhat fluid. And Daryl earlier said it sounded cheesy. I actually disagree. I don't think it sounds cheesy because it's something that life does to you. And I feel at the moment that this is what life does to me, is that I'm feeling drawn to these to these activities, be it board roles, be it mentorship, sort of be it sort of giving back. And I think that's something that I could not have done a couple of years ago because I was still too busy building. And so I think it's the right time to do this now. And in particular, I really want to give back and contribute. I have benefited from EDCO in the past. I think it's time to sort of turn this around a little bit. I also want to bring sort of the FDI and international perspective deeper into EDCO. I think there is a role, or given my role at Invest Ottawa and also the CCA, I think I can help EDCO integrate strong international agenda into provincial level programming. And finally, yeah, and I'm done. I told you I was going to stretch it. And finally, strengthen EDCO's voice and impact. And I think this is something that, I want to do particularly vis-a-vis provincial and federal partners at the political level and bureaucrat level. So thanks for indulging.
Thank you. Noor, you're up next.
Sorry, I lost my mouse there. Thank you, Belinda. So I'm seeking re-election to really build on the great work that we have been doing over the last, I guess, my 2 terms and beyond that. I know we've had a lot of changes in EDCO over the years, and there have been really positive changes, and I just want to see that work come to completion and also give back to the EDCO community. I also benefited greatly from EDCO. Throughout my career, I joined EDCO in my early 20s. I think I was 21 at the time that I joined EDCO, and I've benefited greatly from the programs, and I would like to see how our programs can grow and benefit the next generation of economic developers. I'll just keep my answer short.
Thanks, Noor. Abdul, you are next.
Awesome, thank you. Well, I think in short, it's really like believing in the power of economic development, whether it's in Ontario or anywhere else. It's beyond just creating jobs or tax income to cities, municipalities. It's really building a community, building a culture, creating interesting jobs for the youth. What we plan today is what our kids would be working, or our grandkids, and we'll always be proud of it. I would answer this on two levels. One is as a selfish personal level, and the other is really the community building, which luckily they align. I personally like to see projects that would grow, that would make a change, that would change how a community looks to the best. And luckily, EDCO's board and EDCO's mission aligns with that. I also would like to help on developing some programs, whether they're at a provincial level or a federal level, that serve maybe that mid-section of companies. We have many programs that serve the big global companies, maybe moving to Canada, as well as the small startups. But there's a section I feel it's underserved, and being there and working in these organizations in my past experience, I really would like to advocate for them through that. As well as working with communities on developing strategies or hearing their voice, passing their voice, putting them on the radar, whether it's for companies looking for investment beyond, the big cities, which I feel like that's what we do in Kingston here. We're always trying to put our name forward, as well as on the radars of decision makers for potential support. So I usually advocate for bold ideas and then practical solutions. I'm happy to again lend this experience to help EDCO's board and to learn from them as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Abdul. Claire, you are next.
Great, thank you. Like my friend Jens, I think I'm at the stage of my career where I feel it's really important to contribute as much as possible to our profession. Although Jens, I feel like a builder and a giver at this stage of my life. So I'm hoping that it calms down a bit more to be a giver. But there really are 2 main reasons why I would like to be a member of the EDCO board. One is really, as I mentioned, to help advance the profession. That is really important to me. When I joined the city of Brampton, the administration and elected officials, they really didn't know that economic development was a profession, that you could be certified or you could become an accredited organization. And so that's something that really guided my work and became a vision for our department. So I had many staff certified through the EDAC system, and then became an accredited organization through IEDC. So that was really important to me, and I'd like to do some more work through EDCO as well to try and advance our profession. The second reason is really to increase the City of Toronto's engagement in the economic development ecosystem in Ontario. When I was at the International Downtown Association conference last week, there was a comment from one of the speakers that really struck with me. And she said that Canada used to be divided by French and English, and that now she felt we were divided by urban and rural. And so I wanted to make sure that what I can do, what I can contribute, will ensure that we alleviate that divide, but also contribute to greater collaboration. And I think EDCO is the perfect vehicle to do that. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Claire. And I won't forget you this time, Cephas. It's your turn.
All right, thank you. In terms of being on the board or wanting to be a board member, it's being on the EDCO board has been a long-standing dream of mine. And for the first almost, I think, 20-some years of my career, I just kept telling myself, oh yeah, one day I'll get to it, but I'm too busy now. And I kept telling myself that I was too busy. And then I finally realized that I would never not be in economic development too busy, or not busy, I guess is how we should say that. So 2 years ago, I did make the leap. And to be honest, I'm a little shocked that my first term is already over. It went by really fast. So whoever gets on, it will go by fast, and you'll be doing this quicker than you think. So just be prepared for that. So when I joined the board, one of my priorities that I want to do personally was to contribute to EDCO's vision, mission, goals, and objectives, right? And that's something that I'm really passionate about, is a really succinct vision statement and a mission that is derived from that, along with goals and objectives. And we didn't actually quite get to that, although there is a strategic study or strategic plan development underway right now. The board spent a lot of time on governance. And so to be honest, I'm just getting to the fun part, the part that I've been waiting for. And so I want to get back on the board so that I can play around and help and contribute in that area as well. So in terms of the other things as well, though, I think that I do obviously like to engage with people, and I think that part of our role as an organization is to be responsive. I think EDCO does a good job, but of course there's always room to improve that, right? So in my role, in my mind, as I continue to be, if I'm lucky enough to get back on the board, I would want to continue to work on making sure that our members' voices are heard, right? So that their input and feedback is at least considered around the tables, the various tables that I'm part of, and that we continue as an organization to get better. I know that our strategic plan, which Stephanie Crilly is driving, is going to help us with that, but I want to be part of that and help make sure that that happens. So those are my reasons.
Thanks, Cephas. Daryl, over to you.
Thank you. I think I want to start by saying, I'm just going to kind of throw out the term non-traditional. And what I mean by that is I took a very non-traditional approach to where I'm at today. Through my time at Digital Main Street and kind of finding myself in Peterborough now. And, I think why I want to join the board in terms of advancing the profession, I think I want to help more people embrace that idea of, non-traditional kind of pathways in economic development. And that, to Claire's point, there is, some pretty damn cool opportunities in this environment. And I think, thank you, Jens, for clarifying, because it is not cheesy. I do want to, give back to these folks and ensure that they understand, like I said, not only is it a viable career path, it's a cool one. It's an excellent one. You get to work with great people. You get to do stuff you can't do in any other industry. But then flipping that around on the non-traditional side, I want to continue to look at, future focusing the organization in terms of programs we're chasing, opportunities, stuff like that. A personal pet peeve of mine is when we see all these projects and things piloted in the US before they're brought to Canada, whether it's a new policy or a new framework or something like this. I think, EDCO as an organization, as a board, has the chance to continue to push on the corporate side of things and look at partnering with some of our tech companies and some of our larger, organizations here in Canada to really pilot some of this stuff at home and look at some of these new opportunities. And I've been very, very fortunate in my time to have established relationships with most of these organizations and have done some pretty cool stuff. And again, really just want to embrace that, bring that to EDCO and help us continue to double down on what's already working and working very well, but continue to look at new and innovative ways that we can continue to grow the organization, grow the membership, and just do some really, really cool stuff in the space. And I'll leave it at that.
Great. Thanks, Daryl. Last but not least here, Tyson.
Thanks, Linda. We'll probably echo some of the similar comments the other candidates made, but the reason I want to join the EDCO Board of Directors is, as I mentioned earlier in my introduction, that I am deeply passionate about the role economic development plays in shaping communities. I think others mentioned, economic development is not just about business attraction or investment. It's about creating opportunities for people and their communities, right? And I think economic developers, whether others think so or not, I think we're just as impactful as city planners, as city engineers, when it comes to developing cities and creating communities that provide opportunities for success. Throughout my career, I've seen how collaboration and determination can drive meaningful change. And what excites me most about EDCO is the ability to bring people together from rural, urban backgrounds, from diverse regions, really to advance a profession. My favorite times are during the regional events or the EDCO conference and hearing about the exciting things that are happening in other communities. And you can hear the actual passion from members as to they know that this is going to have an impact on communities and people, and that's what drives them in the profession, right? And as others mentioned, serving on the board would allow me to give back to the profession that really provided me with a career that I think many of us didn't realize was a career until we're already a couple years into doing it, right? And I think that's part of my wanting to be on the board, as well as to further the profession as an opportunity for new individuals, for newcomers, individuals coming out of university to really succeed in a profession that I think unfortunately flies under the radar when you look at other municipal professionals that are well known when it comes to opportunities. And I'll end with saying that for me, joining the board is not just about good governance and moving, it's about bringing passion, leadership, and a commitment really to both professionals, the economic development professionals, and the communities that they serve.
Great. Thanks, Tyson. So we're moving on to question number 3. So I will read this out a bit. As I mentioned earlier, the candidates did receive these questions, but the folks just tuning in today will not maybe necessarily know what EDCO's vision and mission is. So I'm going to read this. The question is, how do you see yourself supporting EDCO's mission? So EDCO's vision is enhance and develop an economically viable and environmentally responsible Ontario. The mission is provide leadership to 1, strengthen member capacity, 2, advance the profession, 3, support our municipalities to foster economic prosperity in Ontario, 4, support organizational sustainability. And EDCO's key strategies are membership enhancement and expansion, elected official awareness and engagement, enhancing programming for communities, members, and stakeholders, and deliver inclusive professional development. And Daryl, you are up first.
Okay, not a lot of rest time, but I like it. Keep me on my toes. So I did write some notes down for this one because, as Belinda, you hinted at it, it's a fairly broad question, so I didn't want to forget anything. So, short answer, I see, points of emphasis across the board in terms of supporting EDCO's mission. Membership enhancement, really drawing on my experience growing Digital Main Street. Again, grew it from a single employee to almost 800 across Canada. Countless partners, municipal partners, corporate partners, all of the above. So I'd say kind of membership growth is definitely something that's in my wheelhouse. Membership engagement, all of the above. So really, really excited to help the organization grow. In terms of programming for communities, members, stakeholders, everybody involved. Again, really kind of bringing lessons from the programs I've built and led across the province, the work that I've done, across Canada internationally, and even just the communities and the networks I'm part of to really bring new and innovative ideas to the table. I'm not someone who's afraid to push the envelope or, explore new narratives or anything like that. And again, I think that blends very, very well with the strong foundation that we already have in place with our board. In terms of advancing the profession, we've all kind of talked about this, but really, I'm a mentor at heart. I'm a youth hockey coach. I volunteered at a couple organizations in Toronto, George Brown College, Rise Asset Development for entrepreneurs with a self-identified history of mental health, EDCO amongst others, and really just continuing down that pathway to ensure that we've got a strong mentorship piece in place for our local economic development professionals as they're coming up. Elected officials, again.
Daryl, you just muted yourself. Okay.
Apologies. That was accidental. And I'm supposed to be the tech guy. But In terms of elected official engagement, I've been very fortunate to build relationships at all levels with the current government, provincially and federally, internationally to an extent. I'm not sure what benefit that is at this exact moment, but definitely provincially and federally. And then in terms of sustainability, again, just touching on what I said previously, looking at ways to continue to push the envelope to grow the organization in the funnels and then pathways that we're currently down, but also look at new and innovative ways to, again, generate membership, generate revenue, generate opportunity for the community, and just continue to ensure that we have a strong, stable foundation, but we also are future forward and we're looking at how we grow as an organization and continue to innovate and stay at the forefront of everything. So I'll kind of leave it at that.
Yep, great, thank you. Next is Noor.
Thank you. So for me, it's continuing on the work that we've already been doing as a board. One of the key strategies that is really close to my heart is the elected official awareness. I think every elected official that I meet throughout my career, I make sure to talk about EDCO, because it is I believe it is a very important organization that the government should be aware of, in terms of everything that we do, but also the profession of economic development. We all work really hard for the communities that we serve, but also we don't get the recognition as much, and a lot of people don't know what we're doing and they think they know what we're doing. So that is a big part of why I'm involved with EDCO. The other one is advancing the profession. I do often, so I was invited to talk to TMU last year to talk about how I ended up in economic development with my background. So I have a philosophy degree, and how did that translate for me to work in economic development? So I always talk to especially students who are unsure what to do with their arts degree and how that can translate into community building and community involvement. So I'll focus on those two strategies that are really close to my heart. Thank you.
Thanks, Noor. Cephas?
Yeah, thank you. I think that how I see my supporting EDCO's mission is going to be tied in large part not just to this, of course, vision, mission statement, but of course to what would come forward, regardless of whether I'm elected or not, within the new strategy for EDCO. So I think that there will be some sharpening, if you will, of the proverbial points, and that we will see this organization being much more nimble and much more ready for the future. So what I would like to do with being part of that is to help make EDCO more future ready. And then also, of course, sharpen, as I mentioned already, that vision statement so that we're really driving the organization forward, both as board and as staff and as members, of course. So some of the ones that I do look at that speak to me are strengthened member capacity. And that one in particular is, to me, that's about not just, of course, the conference, I think, is the main part of that, but there's also the various events. But my focus certainly has been on the conference, as I mentioned already. And so I really like to see more technical content. So even in my role as on the conference committee, I've been pushing for more technical content so that our members really have the skills and the tools that they need in order to move this profession forward. Branding and marketing, as we all know, are great. Those are where we get recognition, but it's actually the hard working behind that drives success in your community. So that's the one thing that I like to focus on. And of course, supporting municipalities, whether they're large or small. We have a good mix here. I'm glad to see the mix of candidates here on this roster, I guess, for election, because we're quite a diverse board, but we could always use more voices as well. So that's important for me as well. So those areas, I think, is how I would be contributing to EDCO's mission, and of course, helping distill that down to the membership and helping the membership be involved in that. So thank you.
Thank you, Cephas. Jens?
Thanks. Yeah, on strengthening member capacity, I think I would here really want to leverage the experience I had at the provincial and at the municipal level on those things like FDI, BRE, talent attraction, workforce development, and so on, and policy to really help develop toolkits, peer learning session, case studies, and those type of things on a more individual basis. I really want to get involved more into mentor and coaching programs for members. Particularly on things like investor aftercare, BRE scaling, but also global expansion strategies. So that's really where I think I can contribute. On advancing the profession, I don't know who had the idea to engage Bruce and research FDI into EDCO. Whoever had the idea, I think, is a great idea. This is, this type of engagement that and collaboration that needs to happen. And I think there should be probably more happening in that regard. So I would be looking for opportunities on that side of the mission. Supporting municipalities. I want to help ensure that EDCO programming is inclusive of communities of all sizes, small, rural, medium-sized, big one. And I agree with what Claire heard, in her conversation with one of her colleagues, that there may be a divide between sort of urban and rural. But I think there is also ways to overcome that. And I see that my friend Jay Emery is on the call here from Ontario East Economic Development. And so Jay and us at Invest Ottawa, we have done, I think, a good job in the last couple of years in sort of overcoming this. And Jay was, did move the annual conference to Ottawa over the last couple of years. And I think it helped significantly actually bring Ottawa and our Eastern Ontario communities closer together. And I want to thank Jay for his partnership there. And so I think there is potentially something that we could take out of that Eastern Ontario playbook, if you will. And then finally, organizational sustainability, and many talked about this, and I think it has a lot to do, of course, with engaging members and also non-traditional members, consultant, private sector entities, and so on. But it has really to do a lot with engaging elected officials. Be it federal, be it provincial, be it, of course, municipal, regional.
Time.
And that's really it.
Thanks, Jens. Claire, you're next.
Thank you. So I see myself supporting EDCO's mission in many ways, and I'm just going to highlight two. So one is really the area where Jens was just going with the engagement and awareness of EDCO with elected officials. So I bring an extensive network through all levels of government, and I've worked really closely with elected officials just by the nature of my positions for many years. So I'm very well networked within the elected officials, also their offices and their policy advisors. I'm familiar with the process of how to engage them formally and informally. And I think that that's something unique that I can bring to EDCO to really try and get more engagement. And certainly build awareness of EDCO so that ministers can very quickly articulate the value of EDCO in the province and what they contribute to the economy. The second area is really delivering inclusive economic development. So I've taught a course for the EDAC certification, as well as a couple of courses for IEDC. And my content is always delivered through the lens of inclusivity. And for me, that speaks to cultural diversity, but also diversity of thought. So I would really like to draw that out and encourage discussions on the board, but also through memberships about diverse opinions. And I think that that also speaks to everyone's professional development at the same time. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. Tyson.
Thanks, Linda. I would say in probably around three areas, I would say I could see myself supporting EDCO's mission. The first one, as a few others have mentioned, strengthening member capacity is a key, I would say, mandate for EDCO. And it's also one of the main priorities of the Bright Ideas competition, right? I think the reason for that competition is finding mechanisms, ways in which we as professionals can also collaborate and work together to drive the profession, but also develop the tools, resources, and knowledge necessary to drive economic growth that, as others have mentioned, is inclusive, prosperous, and resilient. And strengthening member capacity is also a big reason why I joined as a mentor this year through the EDCO Mentor Program. I know that was a significant help for me when I was starting out my career, and I know that the invaluable lessons that I learned is something that I'm looking to pass on to others that are joining the industry. Second, I think as some others have mentioned, looking to really engage in elected official awareness and engagement and advancing the profession through advocacy, I think is a key component of EDCO moving forward. I know recently there's been a lot of work done on having EDCO advocate more, whether it's through Queen Parks Day or individual meetings with ministers. I believe EDCO can and should be seen as the go-to organization for commentary on economic policies or changes. So with all the tariff changes, would have loved to see EDCO be a source that the media or others go to, or ministers are tapping EDCO to provide feedback on some of the briefing notes that they're receiving from their staff. And again, that's something I've done here in City of Hamilton, is ensuring that anytime our elected officials are going to AMO or Roma, that they're getting briefing notes from economic development alongside our other departments, where I think historically that might have been a missing gap. And lastly, I'll end on economic prosperity for all in Ontario. And as mentioned earlier, today's National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. And I think not just today, but every day, like everything else, I think we need to be striving for economic reconciliation with all of our Indigenous communities and Indigenous individuals who are living in our communities. I think EDCO can play a great role in increasing resources and knowledge for EDCO to support economic opportunities, not just for Indigenous communities, but also for Indigenous peoples living in our communities.
Perfect. Okay, Abdul?
Thank you. So maybe if you want me to keep it short and sweet, I'll do everything that has been mentioned, being the last one here. But no, really, I mean, I went through it, and honestly, it was through the list you shared, and it was very assurance on what we are doing maybe is right. I posed on one, and maybe I could go through it. So I would say the strengthening member capacity. I think EDCO, their board and their team has been doing a great job, especially with our government and municipal partners. I would say I would contribute to that with more private memberships and corporations coming from the private sector. I see the value, and I see the win-win situation on both sides. Supporting municipalities to foster economic prosperity. I would say, given the experience we had in Kingston, building the integrated economic development strategy, as well as, the whole region in Eastern Ontario, we really need to know where the puck is going. And this is something I believe EDCO is part of EDCO's mission, of course, and I believe I have the capabilities to do that. The sustainability, I would say, of course, is financially and beyond that. So environmentally, whether giving guidance to regions when attending events or even when hosting events, how could that be more sustainable? I would also maybe work alongside EDCO's mission to have members more engaged, maybe more feedback, and whether it's organic or in an organic or inorganic way, as well as participating in the communities and calling for that. What I posted on, honestly, was advancing the profession. And back to Jens and Claire's points, I think I'm still at the stage where I'm still learning. So I already learned from this brief Meet the Candidates, all the experiences. But potentially I would contribute to that, not in teaching or maybe or advancing the profession, or it could be in feedback on what might work and what might not work, and maybe in the young professionals, economic developers. So.
Great, thanks, Abdul. All right, folks, we're moving on to the last question here. What prior board leadership experience do you have, and how do you feel that will assist you as an EDCO board member? And Abdul, no break for you. You're up first.
I should have kept going, but sure. So I was part of the Eastern Ontario Economic Development Commission, led by Jay Amer here from 2022 to 2024. I served on that board under Jay's leadership. Of course, we met regularly, discussed how to put Eastern Ontario on the map, as well as to collaborate with other regions. As Jens mentioned, with Ottawa, which we attend. We just got back from the Municipal Conference of Eastern Ontario. I also currently serve with Switch Ontario, a Kingston-based organization that promotes clean energy, clean technologies. I'm also the treasurer on that board. I would say it's a small budget, way smaller than what EDCO's, but it's still managing what we have in a very efficient way, maximizing ROI, as well as it's hard when you're small. It is a small organization to get the attention of bigger, important speakers, I would say, but we've been lucky with that. So whether it's hosting in-person events, mixers, or virtual webinars, that's what I've been part of. I think this is the last question, but I thank everyone here, thank the fellow candidates running, and thank EDCO for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thanks, Abdul. Noor?
Thank you. So I currently sit on the board and have been for the last 4 years. So that is one of my board experiences. I used to sit at the Sustainable Kingston board and served as the secretary of the board for 2 years. I was secretary. Prior to that, I was on the board for 3 years. So total 5 years. And I used to be also a director on the Sexual Assault Center Kingston board for 4 years and served as their policy chair for 2 of those years. And I sit on various committees here in Peterborough as well, so that helps with some of my governance experience. And yeah, so looking forward to seeking re-election and, continuing on the great work that our current board is doing. Thank you.
Thanks, Noor. Jens?
Yep. So I think likely the most relevant role here is probably my board role with the Consider Canada City Alliance since 2019, working also on the executive committee, to which I just got re-elected this September. So earlier this month, I also became the first treasurer of that organization, as we have more members joining us and more funds to manage. I really participate in these roles and sort of guiding strategic direction, but also coordinating among our major Canadian city regions. But also coming back to this point of advocacy and advocacy within the CCA, but also within Invest Ottawa involves, of course, a lot of provincial and federally elected officials. And we have regular engagements with them, be it folks from FedEv Ontario, an organization that probably funds many of our activities, but also, of course, ISED, Global Affairs Canada, and then MatchCat on the provincial side. Again, I think I would bring really good contacts and connections and experience dealing with elected officials to the table. Also, I think, of course, we have our own board at Invest Ottawa. We have a private sector board, which sort of puts me onto the other side of the table, which is interesting. And then we have our own advisory committees for our different programs within Invest Ottawa. But I think one piece that also helped or would serve in terms of experience was during my time in the government. I often also led multi-stakeholder project governance, aligning objectives, managing risk, sort of ensuring accountability and responding to evolving situations. And a good example is probably the whole lead up over about 8 months to Premier Wynn's first business mission to India in 2016. And Claire would know all about this because we were in this thing together, one in Toronto, the other one in India, and sort of managing a premier, 3 cabinet ministers, 7 mayors, 200 business delegation, plus an extra premier who was brought in from PEI to join us. I mean, you're in that situation, managing multi-stakeholder groups. You can really say you've seen it all, but it was an experience of a lifetime. And I think those things will do benefit. So I think the combination of, again, solid understanding of oversight roles, and not just sort of quote unquote execution, but the combination of both is what I will take into a role if successful. And again, I want to thank everyone for joining today and giving us the opportunity to introduce ourselves. And again, I wish every one of my 6 colleagues best of success and good luck. And thank you for putting your head in the ring.
Thanks, Jens. Claire, you're next.
Sorry, I'm just laughing because Jens just brought it all back. Things you forget that you've been through. So I've served on many boards in the past, chambers of commerce and business associations, both here and abroad. The Organization of Women in International Trade, I'm also chairing committees for them. The International Economic Development Council, I'm chairing committees for them as well. I've also served on many boards, advisory boards for local incubators and accelerators, both in Brampton, but across the country. I've served on community boards. Very proud to be part of the board for the Jean Augustine Center for Young Girls and Women Empowerment in my own neighborhood. Through this, I've learned a lot of various approaches, processes, governance, strategy development, and I've recently signed up for the director courses at the Institute of Directors, the Rotman Board Government courses. So I'm really looking forward to that and have become a member of the Institute of Directors. I as well would like to thank you for your consideration and all the best to the other candidates. Thank you.
Thanks, Claire. Daryl?
So I've always been board adjacent is the way I'll describe it. I've worked with a million boards. I've consulted, I've supported, and I say board adjacent because I haven't formally sat on the boards. Actually, that's why I sat on my condo board, but we're not going to talk about that. But whether it be, youth sporting event boards, my local hockey board, stuff like that, to Claire's point around community, I've always been involved with them. I think, what that's going to do to benefit me as a potential EDCO board member is I have the knowledge I need in terms of governance, risk mitigation, financial accountability, all of those things that any board member will need. But I also have enough kind of green space where, again, I'm not going to be afraid to push that envelope and kind of really think outside the box. And again, numerous steering committees and just working groups and, everything, it's chairing an economic development working group here, supporting, local incubators across the city at George Brown College and other places. So have always just been kind of, like I said, involved and supported a very vast number of boards. Yeah, ultimately, I think, it's going to be a combination of just everything that's going to allow me to be successful in the role. And I will just say the one thing that's become abundantly clear on this call is that not only is the profession in tremendous hands in this province, but the organization, EDCO being the organization, is in tremendous hands as well. Thanking the colleagues and everybody else on the call, whoever is successful. Like I said, EDCO is in great hands. So just thanks everybody for the time, and yeah.
Thanks, Daryl. Cephas?
Yeah, thank you. As many members here, and probably all of us, I've been involved in many different boards and committees and steering committees as well. I think one of the longer standing ones that I've been involved in is a regional initiative, 5-county initiative in this area that's called the South Central Ontario region. And it was formed in response to the decline of the tobacco industry and the economic impact to smaller communities in our area. So I was from 2009 on, I was involved in every aspect of that, starting that organization. So the storming, what do they call it? The storming, forming, and norming. And still involved in that organization to this date at one of their advisory committees. But certainly my most long-standing board role has been with the Southwestern Ontario Marketing Alliance, which is a foreign direct investment agency corporation that I'm a director of and currently serving as secretary of the board. So in terms of the nonprofit sector, I've been involved as well in my local church. Was previously I was the first non-accountant treasurer on that board, and then I eventually became chair of that board as well in the past. And I currently am serving in a number of areas, of course, as I mentioned, on the EDCO board. So I think that this is some prior leadership experiences we all have. We all bring our unique perspective to that table, and I'm proud of where I've served and proud to bring that to the EDCO board. Should I be so elected? Should I be lucky enough to be elected again? So lastly, I'll say that again as my wrap-up comments. Certainly we all have credentials. I think what's more important is the difference that we can make, not just in our community, but in our profession. And I'm happy what I've been able to contribute to the board in the past 2 years and looking forward to do more. But more importantly, I'm especially proud of the contributions I've made to the profession on an everyday basis. We've talked about being a mentor, from input into Ontario government policy, et cetera, all those important things. But for me, just giving back to my passion areas of branding, EDCO conference, and industrial land development. I'm just happy to be part of this profession. I think we're all really lucky. Somebody's already said that. We're really, really lucky. And I think we're all close. is that I just want to note that Jay Amer has been called out the most, shouted out the most. So perhaps he should be running for the board because he's got like 3 or 4 shout-outs there. So good job, Jay. Thank you.
Thank you, Cephas. Okay, Tyson, over to you.
Great. Thanks, Belinda. I'll try to be quick. So yeah, as many others mentioned, I have a significant amount of board experience. I currently sit on the Advisory Council for Food and Beverage Ontario, formerly on the Technical Advisory Committee for the Niagara Food and Beverage Innovation Center, as well as Mohawk College's EPIC Center. I'm currently the staff resource for the City of Hamilton's Agriculture and Rural Affairs Committee. And in terms of community involvement or board experience, so I'm currently the vice chair of the Yorklands Green Hub. So that's an organization in Guelph that, in a nutshell, is aiming to replicate the Evergreen Brickworks a development approach here in Guelph. That includes staff and about 100 volunteers. I also sit on the board of directors for Urban Park Guelph. So that's an organization that is advocating for a national urban park to be developed at the old Ontario Reformatory site in Guelph, if anyone's familiar with the area. In both of those organizations, I've led and supported provincial and federal advocacy efforts, whether that's meeting with MPs, MPPs, Infrastructure Ontario, delegating to council, securing RIN support of First Nation communities. I think myself and many others on this call, that's kind of the bread and butter of what we do, is working with provincial and federal counterparts. In both of these organizations, that included significant fundraising efforts and ensuring the organization serves both its community as well as its membership. I'll end on, I think, like, to use Omafra's BRNE gardening reference. I think, like any great gardening that needs tending, so do organizations, right? And I think myself, along with I think all candidates here, we have the skill sets required in order to tend that organization, to ensure that what it's doing well continues, and where improvements can be made. So I would say vote for me if you're looking for someone that doesn't mind driving change and maybe getting their hand slapped, but at the end of the day is very passionate about driving economic development as a profession and ensuring that communities achieve prosperity.
Oh my goodness. I just want to say, like, thank you all for putting your name forward and running for EDCO. As numerous people have said, EDCO's future is in great hands. This is going to be a tough decision. There's only 3 spots available, and we have 7 great folks here. So thank you for putting your name forward. Thank you for taking the time to prepare and to join us today. I want to thank all of those who have joined us for the last hour and 20 so minutes in the audience. Thank you for joining us, as well as to those who will watch this later. Thanks for taking the time to be engaged in this process. Just so we recap, voting is going to begin on October 15th and will close on December the 1st. You're going to receive an email on October 15th with your voting credentials. And if you have any questions or issues getting that, you're going to want to reach out to Laura DeMille, and Laura maybe can put her email there in the chat. And I want to encourage those watching, don't just you vote, but encourage all those people in your bundle, all your friends in the profession, anyone that's an EDCO member, to get out there and vote. As a lot of folks have said, EDCO has come a long way. A lot of great things are happening, and the future is looking really bright. So thank you everyone for joining us today, and I wish all the candidates good luck.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.